I'm going for the commander's cupola.
He's
Yeah, go for
smart.
turret.
Nice.
Boom.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what World of Tanks and War Thunder teaches you. There's a Tiger tank back there. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys like the intro that I'm trying out. So anyways, this series is a new series that I'm starting, and I have been following Hell Let Loose since basically it was announced. Got in with the community division program, and now can actually contact the devs, which is really awesome. This dev team is so integrated into the community. Anyways, what this series is going to be is a by numbers, detailed, granular detail review of each of the vehicles and updated as they go through their development cycle, because I understand it's very early game and they're going to change. But we're going to go over things such as start-stop speeds for engines, turret traverse speeds, track traverse speeds, reloads speeds, rounds per minute, 0 to 60 times, all the little nitty-gritty stats that I know some people really get into to optimize their gameplay, and just because they like to see where these vehicles are in relation to how they actually performed in history. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, go ahead and finish out watching this review. Give me a sub and hit that little bell notification, because that really helps me out too, and that'll notify you whenever one of these videos gets up. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started into that review. Oh yeah, before I forget, I stream 3 times a week over on Twitch. Link will be down in the description. If you love Hell Let Loose community, yesterday, Wednesday, depending on when you're watching this, we got up to 90 plus viewers, more than the Twitch usually gets for Hell Let Loose. So if you're really interested in helping out the Hell Let Loose community and support me and just really coming and hanging out and having fun talking about this great game, head over there. Like I said, the link will be in the description below. All right, first up, we're going to go over the real world stats for the Sherman. This is just going to be for a general M4 Sherman, nothing particular. So first off, weight. The Shermans weighed about 30 to about 38 tons. They were produced from February 1942 to July 1945. This particular Sherman for the 76 model that we have in game is the M4A1, and that has a cast turret. It also had an operational range of about 100 to 150 miles. It had a speed of about 22 to 35 miles per hour on road, and an engine of the Continental R975 radial gasoline engine. Some had diesel, some had gasoline. So those are the real world stats. Now we'll start getting more into the stats that I actually tested out in game. So for the engine start stop, the engine start came in at 8.6 seconds, and the stop came in at exactly 1 second. So when you're getting into match, it's going to take you about 8 seconds to get up to where you can even start driving. Then from there, it takes about 1.5 seconds to switch seats. So every time you switch seats, it's going to take you about 1.5 seconds, which really isn't that bad. So, and then we go on to the turret. So for the turret traverse speed was kind of interesting because it didn't seem uniform all the way through. It was really close, but not exact. So at 25% to turn a quarter turn, where we were at 13.18 seconds, 50% was 25.4 seconds, and 75%, 38.12 seconds. And for an entire turret traverse speed, it was about, or time to traverse, it was about 50.67 seconds. There's some variance in there. I did a couple of tests for each one and kind of averaged it, so keep that in mind. Now to go up and down, this was interesting as well. Your inclination and declination on your turret. So your inclination is at 7.67 seconds. However, the declination is actually 8.34 seconds. So it's actually going to take you longer to get down on target than it would if the target was higher. This will really only affect you on maps or if your driver puts you in a ditch, which can happen. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now we're going to get into the reload speeds. This was kind of interesting too. AP, armor piercing ammunition, actually takes longer, or no, sorry, it takes less time to load than HE. Did a couple of tests at this, and on average, it takes almost no difference in time, but it's for AP ammo, it's 6.13 seconds. For HE ammo, it's 6.32 seconds. So 6 seconds either way, it really doesn't matter. Now, when it comes down to the guns, the main gun uses M79 armor piercing. I'm hoping we get different rounds eventually, but at least for now, this is what we got. So the AP rounds, there's 47 of them. And for the HE rounds, there's 50 of them. Both of them will fire 9 rounds per minute. So keep that in mind. Generally, if you're hitting the turret or the cupola on a Panther, you can take it out in 3 hits with a 76. A Tiger, if you're going for weak points like the turret ring or something like that, or side shots, you can do it in 4 or 5 as long as you don't get any bounces. So keep that in mind. You should be able to get a full kill on an enemy tank in less than a minute with the reload speeds on this tank. The Coaxial Machinegun, for ammo capacity, this is for the turret, by the way, is 250 rounds times 6 belts for a total of 1,500 rounds. So not too bad, and it takes about 5.6 seconds to reload that. And that can seem way longer when you got infantry bearing down on you, for sure. I did some testing on the machine gun rate of fire, and from what I could gather, it fires at about 598 rounds per minute. So, you know, not Hitler buzzsaw fast, but it's not too terribly slow. Yeah. And then, so now we're going to go into the track traverse speed. This was really interesting because in first gear, because you have significantly higher torque, you can traverse the tracks much, much faster. This should be as expected. However, some people may not pay attention to what gear they're in and try and traverse the tracks in second gear. And this is why you don't want to do that. In first gear, you're only looking about 10.2 seconds to do a full 360. However, to do it in second gear, it's 25.3 seconds. That's more than double. Don't traverse your tracks in second gear. Now, for those who don't know much about tanks, and now that you have these stats here, if you're working in voice with a gunner, or the gunners you're working with your drivers, when there is an enemy to your sides, your flanks, have the driver rotate. Because if they do it in first gear, as you see here, 10 seconds, where it will take you to get a 50% turn, 25 seconds. That can be the difference between 1 AT rocket going into you or 3. So make sure to coordinate with your drivers. Make sure to use voice comms. It is extremely important. So that's the stats I have for this tank. I'm going to be getting stats on the Stuart, all the German tanks, and then the Puma, the light tanks, the scout vehicles, all that stuff. And the Greyhound as well. And then I'm also going to be doing all these detailed stats on the weapons, all the weapons in the game, the artillery. And as more and more stuff comes in, we're getting the Sherman Firefly soon. We're getting the M7 Priest, I think the Hummel, the Jeep with the 50 cal on it, or 30 cal, one of the two. So we're getting all these vehicles, and I'll keep doing the series as long as y'all keep, letting me know you like it by commenting, giving me feedback, hitting that like button, sharing the video on Reddit and stuff. Get it around. Let's get some feedback on this so I know what y'all want to see, what you don't want to see, and how I can improve these videos, because I'm completely open to tailoring the series to what you guys want. So other than that, that's pretty much been the video. I'm trying to keep these short and concise so you're not watching a half-an-hour video on one tank or one weapon or something. But yeah, keep in mind, I do stream on Twitch 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. I do Hell Let Loose Saturdays, definitely, sometimes Wednesdays. I start at 8:30 Central PM, and would love to have you guys by. Links will be in the description. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all around.